you're watching Floyd Steinberg's YouTube channel. Donner sent me their D1 drum computer for review, and I think this is going to be really interesting, so if you want to join me in this video, here we go. I have to admit that making this video put me into kind of an existential crisis. First, the D1 was stuck in customs for days, and when I finally could start working on this video, Lou Pop of all people put out one of his Synth Wikipedia style videos on this box. So I had to go back to a drawing board, and in this video I'll show you how you can use this drum sampler to play chords and melodies on a keyboard while also using the drum sequencer. This, of course, is not Donner's intended use for this box, but it shows that their design here is quite flexible and lets you get creative if you want to. I'll quickly explain what the D1 is. It's a digital drum computer. It uses 16-bit 44.1 kHz mono samples, which can be arranged in 12-part kits. These sounds can then be used in a 64-step 12-track sequencer. The 4-bar loops you create can then be arranged into a song, of which there can be 64. The D1 has several pads and knobs and faders, which I'll explain in a moment. You'll also find stereo 6.35mm audio jacks, a pair of MIDI 5-pin sockets, USB Type-C and headphone connectors here, and there's also an aux in port so you can mix your backing track into the audio chain. The user interface consists of a screen, 12 pads for drumming and sequencing, two columns of menu pads on the left side and two rows of sequencer control pads in the bottom middle. The drum pads are velocity sensitive. The 4 pads in the bottom right can be used for fills and ratchet effects. They are also used for switching measures in step recording mode. The 4 faders will adjust the volume of the pads of the same color. Change the selection with the bank buttons. The knobs on top are for adjusting the sound's envelope, effects, mix, panning, filters, and so on. Using the Shift button, you can access additional functions that are marked with a borderline. Here, I'm adjusting reverb, for example. Touching the knobs will give you a preview of what the knob is assigned to at the moment. This is a nice and helpful touch there. Using the menu on the left, you can load patterns and drum kits separately. I'll start one pattern and then change the drum kit while the pattern is playing. You can also change patterns during playback. In that case, the current pattern is played to the end of the measure before switching. Using the Donner Control app, we can access the D1's internal file system and upload our own samples. The D1's folders are sorted thematically. There are folders for snares, hi-hats, toms, and so on. I have some retrowave drums here that I'll upload. After uploading, you can create a new drum set on the Kit Edit page. Back on the D1, select an empty pattern and press record and play, and then start finger drumming in overdubbing mode. If anything is off time, you can hold the quantize button and one of the drum buttons to correct the timing. You can also add swing here in much the same way. There's a lot more to say here, but for full reference, please watch Lupop's video. With the power of video editing, let's bring in a Reface DX for a short jam. One of the criticisms Lupop had in his video was that he can't play samples chromatically on the D1. And because this is a Floyd Steinberg video, let's create a DIY patch for that using WebMIDI. So if you connect the keyboard to the D1, you can play the various drum samples but not change their pitch. Each key on the keyboard corresponds to one sample in your kit. But one thing DONNER did is you can actually pitch samples in half-tone steps using one of the knobs. And they also implemented MIDI CCs to control the pitch as seen in the MIDI implementation chart here. And this is all the information we need. So what if we uploaded the same sample at a pitch of 440 Hz or C3 to the 4 sample slots up here? In the MIDI sheet we can see the note numbers for those 4 buttons are 44 to 47. So what my script does is it listens to your playing on the keyboard and then routes the note you play to the next free sample slot of those 4 pads. At the same time it checks for the note value you play and calculates the CC command necessary to adjust the pitch of that sample. The note then is triggered, the script moves to the next free pad and repeats. This way we get 4 voices of polyphony and can play melodies and chords. For this to work, of course, you have to put a smartphone or a computer running a browser between your keyboard and the D1. And here's the result. Conclusion. I enjoyed my time with the D1. For the asking price you get a nicely built sample player here. I like DONNER's attention to detail on the user interface. Having contextual explanations is a great idea, and props for the color coding on the faders as well. In future updates it would be nice to have stereo samples and any type of filter on any sample, and a global filter as well maybe. Audio in would be nice, but I guess that would explode the budget. Yeah, and that's it for today. DONNER's D1 drum computer sequencer. And if you think this was an interesting YouTube video, please do the YouTube thing. As always, thanks for watching and see you again very, very soon. Bye bye.